So, Hydroid inadvertently got a bloody buff. What's up, you beautiful feckers? How you all doing? Now, the introduction of the new Coalescent Archon Shards system in Warframe has led to some pretty nutty setups. Siren being Siren and wiping whole maps in Steel Path while also fully stripping armor. Mesa also dealing insane damage numbers. Calervo throwing out even bigger numbers than before. And even the new boy, Corvex, with his buffed up radiation damage, can now throw out an extra 50% if you shard him for it. Now, to get the Archon Shard segment, you are going to have to rank up with the Cavia Syndicate in the Sanctum and Atomica, but that's not hard to do. Let me know in the comment section below what shards on what Warframes you've been trying out, or which ones you're looking at, because with the Netracell missions and the Archon hunts and the Cal missions, we have got a decent way to get a few extra Archon Shards per week, depending on your RNG, to make the most out of this new colour combining system. But with all of these wonderful setups, I wanted to try something a little bit different with the new shards, and I thought, let's check out my old buddy, my old friend, a Warframe that I have got a little bit of a history with. Hydroid, of course, right? Space Pirate Magic. Let's see what some of the new green corrosive Archon Shards can do for him. For corrosive options, the green shards can increase the number of corrosive stacks that you apply by 2, or you can bump up your ability damage by 10% against enemies affected by corrosive. That, of course, is with 1 shard. So I popped on 4 green shards onto my Hydroid, 10% ability damage to enemies already affected by corrosive damage per shard, which is his main damage type, corrosive, since his rework a few months ago, and it will be applied constantly. He also has that instant kind of 50% armor strip due to his passive, where simply applying 1 corrosive proc on enemies causes 50% of their armor to be removed, and then with the maximum amount of stacks of corrosive, he has a 100% guaranteed strip. So 4 green shards, 10% each, 40% bonus ability damage to enemies, meaning if my Tempest Barrage was to hit for 10,000 before, now it deals an extra 4,000 damage. But his Tempest Barrage also gets buffed by his third ability, Plunder, which buffs his corrosive damage output against enemies and permanently strips enemy armor once you cast Plunder on enemies that are under the effect of a corrosive proc. Plunder also steals their armor and gives it to you. Now, with my build, Plunder gives me somewhere around an extra 700% bonus corrosive damage from my abilities, and it gives me 2.5k armor. That 700% buffs my Tempest Barrage and my Tentacles, but the 4 green shards also buff the damage that those abilities do now by an additional 40%. This means my Tempest Barrage can hit anything from 10,000 on the initial cast just to spread corrosive around to all of the enemies, and then it will follow up with 40 to 60k hits per drop. That's on armoured targets. Once you strip those enemies of all of their armour, it is of course instant death. On top of the stagger that it throws out, on top of the crowd control that Hydroid has from his tentacles, on top of the tankiness from that bonus armour that you get from Plunder, it still hurts to say this, but Hydroid right now is easily one of the best Warframes in the game. He is absolutely amazing. Now, if you thought Hydroid was in a good place before his rework, or with his rework a few months ago, the Coalescent Shards, the green ones, will bump him up even more. The only problem maybe would be Corrosive Barrage is the range it's limited to is 15 meters, which means having to find some kind of a choke point in order to funnel enemies through, but that's genuinely not too big of a problem. It's not that hard to funnel them. He is tanky as all hell. He deals insane damage, and with his Plunder augment he can heal teammates a little bit if you want to as well. And the weapon that you bring, of course, is only going to amplify the damage that you throw out, whether you want to bring something like a Latron Prime, which is super powerful, or whether you want to bring maybe a Grimoire and try that out as well for Space Pirate Magic, which I was doing. It works incredibly well with Hydroid. But this is the build that I was using on my Hydroid for this footage. Like I said, I do have 4 green shards and 1 red shard. They are just the normal ones. They are not Tau Forged shards. If you have Tau Forged, then of course he's going to throw out even more damage. Ignore the aura slot. I had to use Steel Charge just for more capacity to save me from having to reformat my Hydroid to check this out so that I could fit the Plunder mod in. He is modded for power strength, a little bit of range for Plunder and of course for Tentacles, duration for Tempest Barrage, Tentacles, and of course his buff from Plunder as well. But if you didn't want low efficiency, you could pop the Plunder augment out and pop in an efficiency mod instead. Entirely up to you, your game, your Warframe, go fucking nuts. These new shards are an absolutely amazing addition to the game. They're going to allow us to bump up certain warframes and make them even more powerful than they were before. But I am a little bit curious where we're going with this level of power creep now that the Netracell missions are around level 300. And of course the secret, or not so secret now, boss that we fought as well is also level 300. Does that mean that we can expect another base jump in enemy levels to be somewhere around the level 300? Only time will tell. Now I have got 5 of them on my Corvex as well, which bumps up his radiation damage by 10% for each shard, so 50% on top of my Corvex, which I will show off in a video very soon. But let me know in the comment section below if you have any of these Coalescent Shards, which Warframe you've been looking at adding them to, or if you have, which Warframe you're really enjoying. Have a great day, have a great week. Clan week, I think the new clan event is this week, and as always, thanks for watching.